Hello everyone and welcome back to the Dealerchat podcast. Today you join us in the Black Lane of G3 in Castleford. We're doing another one of our live dealer chats. We've got 4 very interesting car dealers and Chops here. Going to just talk about life in the car trade, what's happening, how we're finding it, and just generally just get everything off our chest. So I am joined by, of course, James of Chops Garage. We've got Jamie Caple of Car Key. We've got Rob Cubitt of Cubitt Cars, and Dave Gott of the Lovely Car Company, and obviously myself, Joe Betty of Barrow Motors. It's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be interesting with 5 of us, but we will try and figure it out. I think an easy way to get into it is, we are at G3, we've all been here for the sale. How many cars did everyone buy, and what did you buy, Dave?
Shouldn't you be coming to me last?
Come to you last? Okay, no problem. Well, Jamie probably leads...
Don't want to peak too soon.
Leads the scoreboard, I expect, for bought.
Yeah, I got a little scrap of paper in my pocket with just random numbers and kind of cars written on it. I think I've bought 9, although for some reason you've been invoiced for 4 or 5.
That's the best business model ever, isn't it? You buy them, I pay for them.
Just wondering, we're not even, matching trousers or coats. I don't know how you've ended up buying them, but if you don't mind paying for them, it's fine, and then they could be delivered to me. But
My pleasure, mate. My pleasure.
I think 8 I've bought, 1's provisional. I would hope to think I've bought that provisional one, which was the last one in the sale, that 5 Series. That was the one that you were telling me there was an engine light on, which was really kind. There wasn't. Looking at the one before.
You don't need that, do
You've got
you?
to try and handicap these guys. It's too long and a 2 for this game for me to get one over.
I was quite happy at that point. So it's got an engine light, by the way.
Give him a kick.
Going to go for the kidney shot, but I am honestly fairly pleased with what I've purchased today. I felt that the sale was quite expensive. The cars were making strong money, but I've somehow managed to have procured a few. So I'm fairly happy with today's result.
Yeah. Well, for the first time, I didn't buy anything. I normally always do. As Jamie says, the prices were strong, which is good for the vendors today. But if you add the transport on top, for me to get them all the way down to North Devon, financially it didn't stack up. I'd like to say that was the only reason. I think the other reason is I wasn't very organised today. I was a bit all over the place. I didn't have a list of cars I was looking at. I picked a few out as I walked through. I missed some others that I should have had a bit of a bid on. There's some I definitely, out the corner of my eye, I saw them going and thought I should have had a go on that. You've got to come fairly organised if you're going to walk away with stock. Winging it just doesn't really work, does it? So kind of my own fault, really.
I think early on, I always find as well at a sale, you have to almost state your claim, and you have to maybe buy one early on, quite strong, to just show a bit of intent to the auctioneers and to the other people around.
It does. It's like once you bought one, you brought the seal.
You can get halfway through a sale and you've bought nothing, and suddenly panic setting in, and then you start making bad decisions and stuff. So I hate it because there's always an early car that I know I've paid too much for, but it's just like to get me off.
Get some momentum.
Yeah, gets you going.
So your advice is buy the bad one, bad decision at the start.
Yeah.
Right, Sam.
Well, yeah, make a bad decision early on, and then the rest don't really
Set the
matter.
tone.
It's like a bit of a darts analogy. I know it's quite random to talk about darts, but you know when like you get dartitis and they can't throw the dart, and it's like almost at the start. And I've come here before and not bought anything for like halfway through the sale and start hyperventilating. I've got to buy a car, I've got to buy a car. Just get that first dart thrown or that first one.
You were absolutely right, because that's how I was in the last 10 cars that came across the block, and I would nearly have bought anything because I was like, I just want something. And I was starting considering buying 16 grand Jeeps. And it's like, I don't do 16 grand cars. What am I doing?
One left, I love it.
Yeah.
You maybe bought it at 16. I think it did 17 and a half. So but
23 retail.
Yeah, I didn't get anything. I did try it a few, but I wasn't a million miles away, but just I'm not desperate for stock at the minute, so I didn't. Yeah. You didn't, because no one could see you. You were invisible.
Yeah, oh yeah, exactly. I had my hand up. Nothing. Just Jamie bouncing around everywhere. They're watching you. For me, it's one way or another with an auction. I either buy a load of cars or no cars. And it's probably made a good point there. If I don't get in early and get a couple in the bag, then I tend to sort of back off. So yeah, bidded on a few. Got noticed on a couple of those bids. But other than that, no, empty-handed again. But we're quiet, so we're not panicking. Still got plenty of stock.
Which is a weird thing about it, isn't it? Because a lot of people are saying they're quiet, but the prices were really strong, weren't they?
Very,
well, I think that's what causes the prices to be strong. Everyone's quiet, so there's a shortage of stock, isn't there? Yeah. There's a shortage of part exchanges going through the dealers, coming through the auctions, from the whatever. So you've got the same amount of people who want, if you're not busy, they still want to buy some stock and get it in and have a better chance, don't they, I reckon? So
yeah, you've said that before, and I think you probably nailed it. I think you're actually right, yeah. It does make sense to be less in the market.
I agree with that, yeah. And I think also we've got obviously January coming up as well, where you tend to see that little bit of an upturn in prices historically. So maybe people are starting to fill the boots now.
Yeah.
There might be a little bit of that. Could be in a bit of a perfect storm.
But I know what you're saying, because I've heard that a few times through talking to people here today. Like, yeah, prices are going to be mad in January. They're mad now. Like,
It's true,
this is
quite.
the whole thing, and you just said it there. For me, there's a real disconnect between what you're paying at a sale versus what you can retail things for. So prices to me seem to start elevating quite dramatically about 4 weeks ago. And I came here and I didn't buy much, and I got really annoyed. And Melu comes with me to the sales. He actually said to me, he said, no, look, take solace in the fact that your forecourt is basically just appreciated by 10% if this is what cars are worth now. And I was like, nice. That's a nice way of looking at it. And then I'd hoped that the AutoTrader retail prices would start to follow the trend. So as trade's going up, but it's not. To me, it seems it's going the other way. Like every day I go onto Portal, and bear in mind there's a decent spread of stock on there. I'm seeing more cars move into fair price. My greats are moving into good. Some of my fair price cars are moving into higher price. So you're paying more, yet your retail price is coming down. It's like...
It does feel like a strange time, doesn't it? It really does. Yeah. Even for someone small like me, you know, I don't have the kind of stock you've got, but even I'm noticing it. I'm not normally ride through any period, but it's, normally, I said this to a lot of people recently, normally in this trade you hear, oh, I've not been doing so well, and then somebody else says, I'm flying. Yeah. But like just the majority of people I'm talking to at the moment saying, it's not really been what it has been for a little while now.
I do think the budget has still got something to do with this in the background, because I think the problem is it actually, whichever way you want to look at it, it wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be. And I think the problem there is the media aren't then portraying that message, because they're picking on all the bits that were negative. People haven't received the first pay slip that they're going to receive after the budget, so they can't physically see what it is yet. And I wonder if there's still just a little bit of a halt there. People are just waiting for that.
Do you think your everyday car buyer's that in touch with stuff
I'm trying to find a reason, mate.
Yeah.
Go with me on this one.
I think uncertainty never helps.
No,
So I've always found the weeks leading up to an election, it just seems like there's a bit of paralysis out there in the market. Easy for me to say. And anything like pre-Brexit, when they got the deal done or whatever that deal was, it just seemed after it was relief. And it seemed a little bit like that this year for us. Once the election was done, within a week or two, we actually started to have a good run of things again. And I thought, oh, we're back, we're back. And as I say, August and September for us were fairly buoyant. And I'm thinking, we're back to normal now. Panic station's over, let's just crack on. And got into October and it just fell off again.
There was a little peak for everyone, wasn't there? I do think there was a little, exactly as you said, after the election, it was a little peak, wasn't there? A little bump. And then and after the budget came out, I think there was a little bump, and then it just...
Jamie, because obviously, for those who are watching and haven't seen our previous videos with Jamie, you got a sort of car supermarket, basically independent. Do you subscribe to Cap, and do you use Cap?
So I pay for it. Yeah. And a lot of people say, well, why don't you just do retail back? But I quite like having two prices. So I see AutoTrader trade and I see Cap, and then you can just offer the customer the lowest of the two. You know, and buy the car at the keenest price. But I pay for it. It doesn't cost us a huge amount of money, Cap.
No, okay. I was going to say, because it feels to me that like Cap is just the most irrelevant figure it's been in ages. It's just a million miles away.
I never give anybody a Cap clean. You know, if what comes in part exchange, you always go for portal trade price.
I retail back. I still retail back.
Yeah, I retail back.
Yeah.
Just I'm too tight to pay for any service.
Correct.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that you're not, because I have it as a bit of a barometer to make sure that I'm not going in too low and then I'm missing. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just, when the last time I came here, I spoke to one of the auctioneers, Liam, and I was like, how often does Cap actually get updated? Because I don't really know. Is it once a month? Is it whatever? And obviously they say they update it daily, because I'll quite often come to the auction and everything's going $1,000 over Cap. All day throughout the whole auction, you think, well, Cap stands for current auction price, so that's no longer the current auction price, is it? Yeah. But what you're saying, and I agree, is you feel like your stock then should be going up in line with it, but it's just not. It is really weird.
I'm taking a view now, and I'll be doing this over the next few days, is I'm going to have to just start savaging prices, which I don't want to do. I kind of hold firm. I'm like, no, we'll be fine. And now, just seeing the market and how it's gone, that I've got to say to myself, we need to generate a certain amount of money to just cover everything, cover the overhead. So I'm going to have to take the view now for the next month or two, sell more at less margin. Do you know what I mean? To do it rather than selling less at more margin.
Which is awful to hear from a competitor's point of view, because that's what starts that
race to the bottom.
Race to the
And
bottom,
that's
yeah.
what you think makes you go onto AutoTrader and see your car that was at a great price fall to
Yeah,
fair
quite.
price.
So
and
it's your fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't knock
to
500
clarify.
quid off at a time.
Yeah,
knock
50
100
quid.
quid at
Let's
a
all
time.
agree. Let's get everyone who's watching the channel, all the dealers to agree to go and put £500 on every car they've got.
Yes, please.
Every single car.
You know, the difficulty is that I don't monitor prices daily. I should. And I think sometimes I question if you had a smaller amount of stock, you could do it on a daily basis. But to go there today and accurately look at 220 cars to start re-researching them, often, if I do this exercise every month or 2 months, I'll be doing 500 quid. I ain't going to be doing hundreds and 50s
I know,
and
yeah.
nudgings.
Yeah.
Just chop. And
Do you always keep them at good price?
chop. Sorry.
Do you always keep them at good price then?
I try to I don't like to see a fair price marker unless it's something, you know, unique that does command it. Sometimes I'll see a fair price car that I've got and I'll relook to market. Because this is the other thing. You really should research your cost properly by going on AutoTrader and looking where they sit. With such a volume, unfortunately, I've become significantly more reliant on the retail price that AutoTrader say, rather than me having the individual. Because if I was to go and research, let's say I spent 5 minutes or 10 minutes per car, to do that 220 times is well, you've been there a week. You know what I mean? It's like so you have to just go with AutoTrader sometimes. But then if you've paid strong for something and you think, I'm going to leave myself next to nothing, then I'll actively go to the market and say, no, AutoTrader's wrong. And AutoTrader isn't always entirely
Well, do you know where I find you can throw AutoTrader out the window is sub 4K. It doesn't matter what it says. If it says it's 2.5, if it says it's 2.7, it says it's 3.2, 3.995, 2.995, you can, it's just totally out the window, and the cars will fly out.
Well, the price markers become, all you have to be is 200 quid above market to almost get a fair or a high price marker at that lower end. And I don't think that the price markers, almost like they don't do them over 50 grand, almost sub 5 grand, they almost should get rid of them again because, the difference between paying 500 quid more from another dealer, you'd pay it for the right car, wouldn't you, at that price point? But AutoTrader may tell a customer, no, don't, it's high.
Well, the thing is, AutoTrader still doesn't allow for the fact that your car's got a new MOT on it, it's got a full service history, not part service history, that, you know, that you've done a service on it before it's come out. Yeah, it doesn't allow for all those factors, does it? Which is why, you know, somewhere like Marketplace becomes better for sub 4K cars, because there is no markers on them.
I still got a problem with AutoTrader markers. I think when that came out, I think we all remember it. Yeah. The auction prices will move depending on what the market is doing and what the demand is doing. But the AutoTrader price markers, there seems to be a lull there, and it just feels very controlling that they can do what they want and it will just squeeze or it'll drop, whatever happens, but you can't get away from that price marker. I've still got a big issue with that, but
it's a bit like
to me.
Being out of touch with Cap. How many times have you looked at a car, you're looking to buy it, and it'll say retail rating 90 out of 100.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're like, what was that priced at 102% then? That's what they tell us we should start at immediately. And you scroll down and look at all the 50 others that are all at 85 to 90%, all low price.
Yeah.
It's like, well, where am I going to get? We're putting that at 100%. It's just not going to happen, is it? So then, again, you've got to throw it out the window. So if you're...
Do you think sometimes we give too much credit to the consumers that they actually look at these things, or do we worry ourselves and actually that the price markers perhaps don't really? How often do customers mention price markers to you?
Oh, never.
I think you might be right. Yeah, I think because you can have a car that's great price and they're still coming to try and chip you, and you can have people visiting you on a fair price one, and I drive them to the advert and say, oh, well, I can't come down because I'm already at a great price, and they haven't even seen it.
Yes.
They haven't even noted that when they've been looking, because it's the blue they want with the diamond cut alloys and the right interior.
And the other problem you've got, if you've got one at low price and you say to a customer, look, it's 1,500 quid cheaper than anywhere else, it doesn't matter to them. They still think...
Still want a deal.
You know what I mean?
They were interested at the price you advertised, and they still want to have a deal.
Yeah, quite.
So, but I think if you are... The thing with the price markers, obviously really contentious, but I feel like some things are just shit, aren't they? But you have to just play the hand you're dealt. So I try to use that as much as I can. If someone comes in, they're like, can I have some money off or whatever? It's like, well, it's priced 100 quid above market or whatever to make it a nice round number. I can do you it at that exact to the £6 retail, but they dictate everything. They dictate what we buy it for. They dictate what we sell it for, how much margin we're going to make out of this car. Literally, I'm just here to facilitate, that is it. I can't give you any more off, which it's easy to say if you can got someone on the hook, but otherwise it's a tempting it's tempting to do a deal if you haven't sold a few for a while. And
The trouble is when you need to do DPF for them in 2 months' time, they don't go, here's the £200 back, you let me have it off to contribute towards that DPF filter I need to put in now.
We don't feel in a position to turn deals away. That's the thing. And I say to my team, look, if you've got me, if it's the first opportunity on a car and they want a chip, I'm just thinking, well, I can replace the car tomorrow. It might not be the same one or as nice, and I can make the profit. Or do I wait and then in 6 weeks, if I've still not sold it and I'm reducing it by £1,000 and I'm saying to myself, why didn't I take Mr. Jones's money? Because Mr. Jones could pay, he could swap a car in, you could end up having 2 or 3 profits, couldn't you, off it? Or you could reinvest that money on that day and you do more deals. And
It's the ongoing advertising costs as well that I look at. If I have a car that's been on literally 24, 48 hours and someone's on it and they want 200, 250 quid off, yeah, fine. Because that car's going to be sat probably, if you look at the analytics, 30 to 60 days, depending on where it's going to be. Well, that's the money anyway. But I can have my money back in. So I'm more likely to do a deal at the start than I am after 90 days.
I think there'll be a lot of people who do it the opposite way. They'll be like, oh, it's only just come in and it's popular. You're already on it already.
Well, you try that line, don't you?
you try it, and then when they say, oh, we'll have a think about it. Well, no, come on. What price wouldn't you need to have a think about it at? Do you know what I mean? And you backpedal.
There's too many, it's psychological, isn't it? Every car's different. There's no one rule for this, is there? I do like to stick to fixed price. I just do. I always have done. And it's worked well for me. Because every time I knock something off, then, like you say, 2 weeks later, DPF's knackered, and I'm like, for flipping out.
If I had that 300 quid back in the car now, it wouldn't be so bad. Yeah. It's a difficult one, isn't it? It's, like I say, it's always tempting to take a deal in front of you. But, because you were talking about the advertising costs, I traded a car the other day, and I don't do AutoTrader like you guys do. I pay for it as I put a car on. And I looked and I thought, I'd have made money trading this car out if I hadn't run it through AutoTrader 5 times trying to get it at the money I wanted. I've spent 250 quid on adverts on it.
Yeah, fair point.
Well, let's not let any of this distract us from what Dave bought. Because we haven't got around to that.
All this has just distracted us from getting to Dave and saying what Dave
Brought it all back to me. I'm depressed again now.
What did you buy? I didn't see. I didn't. No.
You
Which
didn't miss it.
car? Oh, the pink Evoque.
Yeah, I thought you were all bidding on it. I thought, but so basically it's pink Evoque, and that's not the thing that's bothered me about it. It's the 2 litre Ingenie engine. That's the only thing.
It sounded fine, is what I would say. And I went to it and said to myself, should I be buying this car or not? Because it's pink. That car, as much as we all joke about it, that's the car of the day, and you will have a big margin out of that car. Yeah, there's a couple of bits to do to it. The wrap scared me, and there's just a couple of bits on it. But again, if you've dealt with wrapped cars, I don't know anyone who does them. So I'm assuming if you have got someone, I don't know if you have or not, but
we used to have a tint and trim wrapping business.
Then it's
de-chrome and
exactly,
all that. So I've got a couple of girls that I can ring up.
If it needs a couple of tiny bits doing, you've won today. I'll tell you now, that is the car of the day. Yeah. I think that car will make.
Retail was 15 grand on it.
So it's pink. It's probably 16,995, 16 and on it. Go for broke with that car, and you will sell it.
See, I told you.
I promise you, honestly. Well, we were because
3 months later.
Looked at me like we looked at each other, didn't we? You were like, I was thinking about it.
He's coming over me. But the thing is, I thought Rob was bidding on it.
I said I was going to do,
I seen him and I was like, he's bidding on it. Oh, just have one. 10 100. And I'm like, why is no one bidding?
6-bag deal. You'll do 6 grand out of that. Pre-prep and bits. So you probably end up with about 50p after you've prepped it.
Chain on
stuck an engine in it or stuck a chain on it. But no, well, I'm chuffed you bought that. Good. At least one of the table bought that car today. No, nice.
Yeah, thanks.
That sort of car is the stuff I used to love. Because you just think, if there's something here that put people off because they think it's a bit risky or whatever, but it's still going to be popular to the end market, you can do really well out of it.
That's why I like a ding car. The dealer's like ding in that court. I don't like a time like down in Devon. That's 300 quid. I'll get it done for 300 quid. I'll have that. Yeah. I missed one today as I went across. I was kicking myself. It was so cheap just because we're dinging the rear quarter. But yeah, if you got the right people, the right contacts, you can take something like that on without any problems, can't you?
If it's still there within 6 months, which it won't be,
he has to buy it. For saying how great it was.
I've got half a dozen for it. It's grand,
Kind of you.
I could just get the heat
Well, that's it, yeah.
and just
Give
take
it
the
a
wrap
polish
off.
on. Take all the paint and the lacquer off as you go.
Yeah, it was a beautiful colour underneath as well, wasn't
find
it?
out why-
It was dog dick red underneath.
It was, wasn't it? It was. Find out why the wrap's on there, because someone scratched something, a profanity down the side of the car.
I know, yeah, that's why I had the wrap
Quite a
on.
nice pink, like not
was, wasn't
horrendous either.
As far as pinks go, yeah.
Yeah,
it's a good pink.
basically. So anyone remember that lipstick colour that was on Corollas years ago? I don't know if you
Oh,
remember,
yeah,
but it was just
brilliant.
horrific. But again, bizarrely, you got your lipstick out there, but
Very that. You can have that.
it was like a pinky colour. Yeah, I
like
always
your Range
remember
Rover.
it called lipstick, and it literally did look like lipstick. And again, I remember seeing it, thinking that is horrendous. But again, odd colours seem to work. I bought a brown disco the other day, and the guy who offered it me said, "Oh, do you want this?" And I was like, it's not the best colour, is it? It's funny because you're always telling me when you're here about how these obscure colours are really good. I was like, fuck, excuse my language. And I ended up buying it, and yeah, we've sold it. I tried to chip him down on the fact it was brown. He's like, you were just telling me last week that you really like these different odd colours of brown.
I always do really well with a brown car. I don't know what it is, but yeah. And we had 3 identical Dacia joggers the other day we bought from someone, and all similar mileages. One was black, one was white. You would have thought the 2 best colours. One was brown. If you look at AutoTrader, brown one's through the roof. The other 2, no one's even looking at them. Why is that? I have no idea.
And that's the other thing as well, what I was saying. The cars that scare you the most, they're the ones that you get the best profit out of. The ones where you're like, oh yes, you bid more, I'll sell that straight away. You have a man round forever. But that Evoque, as soon as put the hammer down, I did feel my bum go a little bit like, like that. And I thought, that's a good sign, that.
That's a good sign.
I look forward to revisiting this in a month's time or 2. I really do.
Quite.
I think you'll sell it quickly. I do.
Are we having a bet?
Yes.
I'm not really a betting man. Being in the motor trade, you're constantly a betting man, aren't you?
He
Gambling.
just literally had like a 200k gamble today, hasn't he?
No.
Yeah, I think you'll do well when it happens, though. I agree with that sense.
Star of the show. Star of the show today, man. Definitely.
I wanted to get from everyone how, well, I'm quite happy to go first, how we're finding the car trade at the moment. We've all kind of talked about this off camera beforehand, and it's probably not the best, but what, do I go first? I mean,
That sharp exhale of says it all.
do I really want to bring the tone down?
Going well,
It feels so much harder than it used to be. In fact, one of the other questions I had, which I'm sure we'll just cover now, is like, do you think it's harder in the motor trade now than when you started? And I mean, I think factually, obviously, it is. It just is so much harder. But yeah, it's a very weird time at the moment, as we said, with prices and everything else. I don't know if everyone else is feeling it, but I feel like I'm really up in my game. We're busy, which is not making money. It seems so much harder to make money. And it's like the harder you try, the worse it is. If you got half a dozen cars from home and you're selling them, you can be roaring away with it. But then you want to, I've said it 100 times, it's growing from here to there. At this point, you can start making some money again. But in this period, you start losing money, and it's harder and harder until maybe you get it perfectly right and you get up here. So we've talked about this. Some of us are saying just like kind of completely re-evaluating what it is you do. And I don't know what the answer is, but
I agree. It's almost like the rules have changed, and they constantly change, don't they? And you kind of look at your business and think, well, we were making that pretty much doing the same 2 years ago. So what but you have to change and adapt. And you look at the cost of parts. You look at everything's gone up, hasn't it? Let's be right. Everything has gone up. Parts costs, so I always talk about warranty claims. We underwrite our own warranty. And like in the 1819, if someone had a problem with a car, they went to a garage, it was 250 quid. Like that was, you could guarantee it'd be around about 250 quid to fix. It was 250. You got into the pandemic and it was 500 quid. You didn't blink because it was a 500 quid repair if a car went into a garage. Now, if a customer takes a car to a garage to be looked at, it's $1,000. Yeah. It's a fucking grand, sorry to swear, but it just feels like, I don't know, and garages are looking for work, and this is the other thing I find, and if you run a workshop, an independent, why you feel the need to tell our customers if they've got a problem with their car and they've only had it for a few weeks, just take it back. They'll give you your money back.
Or tear it apart.
Yeah, so there's a tear it apart, but I'd just tell them you want your money back because it's within the first 28 days and there's an issue with it. And I'm like, what are you getting out of telling this customer to just back a car to me?
Sound clever doing it. That's my thought process on it. We know the rules. Look, we're doing you a favour. Just stick it back into the
For a
deal.
really minor thing as well, a lot of the time, really like oxygen sensor. Do you know what I mean? Something ridiculous.
Or the garage, the garage is thinking, it's a warranty claim. We're not going to have to want to go through a warranty company. So actually, it's probably easier if I just tell this customer just to return the car.
There's an element of that, Jamie.
I know,
Yeah,
I want to kill them. And I like, you don't know me. I'm going to look after this customer better than you'd ever look after them. But you're here telling them to just back the car to me, and they trust you. They don't trust me. Because this is the other thing. So we used to build brilliant relationships with people. If someone comes on site, they're your best mate. And if they're your best mate and they have a problem, it's not a problem because you're mates and you work together to sort it out. In this new world we're in, where we're delivering so many cars, you do not have the rapport or the relationship with the customer that historically you may have had. I don't know what you guys are like with deliveries. We deliver probably 20% of our cars. Those customers do not have the trust. So if they have a problem, they ring and they're a dick. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if it's, Jamie, it's Dave. All right, Dave. Yeah, my engine lights come on. Oh, fuck off, Dave. Don't be a moaning bastard. Can I get it in? Yeah, of course you can, mate. See you in a couple of weeks. All right, stop fucking. If you broke it again, Dave, you can have that. But so again, we're in this world, and these people are bombarded with information. Mine, Lewis, all this stuff online, and they know their rights, and it's fine. But I feel that the Consumer Rights Act, without being super moany here, is not fit for purpose to our industry. It's
You're preaching to the choir. You won't shut up about it.
It's not fit for purpose.
Of course it's not, especially under certain price points. It's utterly ridiculous.
So what happens? At what point is there a stop? No, we cannot do this anymore. Or because I worry that we are going to find ourselves in a position where it becomes uneconomical to even do the job that we're doing. We ain't here to rip people off. We're here to make money and be fair with people. But if that means that at any point, like a customer, I fixed their car the other day on finance within the first 6 months. That same fault's occurred, and it's month 9 now. And I'm sat there thinking to myself, by rights, they probably have got an avenue to go back to the finance company, who will then in turn lean on me to have to buy that car back off that customer. How can that be fair or right? I don't know.
No, this is what I'm saying. I mean, I've probably bored people to death with it, but if you're going to start selling cars at £5,000, they've got £1,500 headlights, and after 5 months someone goes, the headlight's gone, it's not fit for purpose. And you're going, well, hang fire, the headlight went for an MOT and you've used it for the last 4 or 5 months. But then you speak to your legal people and they're going, well, it's really down to what the judge decides when it's in court. He could decide it was on its way out anyway. And you're like, what's the point? No, I might as well I'm going to do everything within 6 months, regardless of the price point of the car, regardless of how many miles they've done. And I absolutely agree with you. And I've said this time and time again, I think it will get a point where, under a certain price point, for sure, cars won't be able to be done through dealers, and you'll be throwing everyone to the private market. And people are going to be coming in with their part exchanges going, why are you offering me such a low part exchange? Well, because when I sell that car on, anywhere up to 6 months, or even past that if it's on finance, I could be hammered for any amount of money.
But what you're doing then is you're educating that customer that's bringing the part exchange.
Yeah, you almost don't want to tell them.
Just hammer you. Yeah, exactly.
Why do you need $2,000 across my car? Well, actually, I probably need $3,000 or $4,000 across your car to make it actually financially viable. And it will be interesting to see where it goes, because I think it was done with the best intentions, but it's just, there's no detail in it. It's way too open to interpretation, and it'll come down to some judge who's driving a brand new car on a lease in a room, looking at Sally, who's a single mum, crying because her car's broken after 5 months. And he's just going to be like, yeah, you need to refund her the transportation, you need to refund her the parts, you need to refund her the car.
I feel like you almost need to, when you sit down with the people, like, we need to talk about fit for purpose, because what the fuck does that mean? Like, so what are you using the car for? Oh, well, I've got to take the kids to school, and I got to whatever, and, do the shopping and whatever. Okay, go and see family occasionally. Okay, no problem. So kids to school, shopping, family, it's got to be safe, all that sort of stuff. If the rear window motor stops working after 5 or 6 months, doesn't make it not fit for purpose, does it? The radio stops working. It's an irritation. You can't listen to your podcast, but it's still fit for purpose. You can still drive around in the dry and the warm.
It's the favourite fit for purpose. And a subscriber stopped me and chatted to me here today, so I was just going to tell you this story. You're always telling stories. I've got to tell you a story. He said, I sold a car the other day. He says, it's been out for a month. I've had a guy on the phone, and he's told me it's not fit for purpose. He said, because the tyre's gone on it, and it's got a piece of metal in it. And he said, and my garage has said, piece of metal was probably in there all along, in the tyre, and it's gone for an MOT. And the guy's gone, not fit for purpose. He's quoted all this consumer law. And he goes, what am I going to do? Do I really want to end up in a court over a tyre? He says, I'm going to have to eat it and do it.
The thing is, they won't pay the £400-500 to take it there. It's that the tyre costs less.
Yeah.
But what's wrong with that
might
person?
might end up with getting a negative review, but I think you just got to weather that now and almost wear it as a badge of honour.
I'm not bothered about the negative reviews anymore now. I know when we spoke last year, you were like, "Oh, I'm so proud of these reviews," and you should be. However, when customers are such a nightmare, we've just got to reply now. We've got to reply. We've got to let them bad reviews on our websites, and then we've got to show it from our side.
Can I tell you, like we've dropped to 4.7 on AutoTrader, and I'll be honest, I know it sounds like, check me out, but it's hurt me. It has, and I feel like. But then you look at Michelin-starred best restaurants in the world, and their review scores are like 4.4, 4.5.
There's some prat who didn't like the salmon.
Yeah,
There's always
There's always one.
We're selling high-value old items that inherently are going to break. Yet we've got 4.7, 4.8. It's a miracle, innit? When you actually look at it. But if I see a car dealer, and again, I don't look at everyone's reviews, if I see 4.2, 4.3, I think, oh, bloody hell, these guys are shit. And they're not, man. They're not, no, but they're not, are they? That's the thing, they're not. All it takes is 1 in 10 people to have a moan, and you're at 4.5 then, aren't you? I think, if you do the sums. If everyone 10'd you and the 10th one gave you a 1 or something like that. But it's hurt me, and I feel like I've took a couple of bad ones recently, and I part of me is like, pick the phone up, let's get them in, they're out warranty, let's do some goodwill, let's get that review. And I have, again, seen how profitable or unprofitable this industry seems to be at the minute. No, I'm not doing it. I just ain't doing it.
The point you made earlier, though, I mean, just to pick up on it before we go too further on, the point you were making about garage bills, I 100% agree. I'm just forever, like every time I go down, I sell cheapies. I used to go down to my garage and get the work done. It'd be 250. 300. It's £1,000. It's 1,200 quid. It's like, well, it had corrosion. If you want advisory free, James, we've got to do all the brake pipes. We've got to change the rear beam on it. We've got to do the lower arms on it. And, because you can't send it out with a load of advisory on it because everybody's on their phone now going, well, I know it's a 12-year-old Kia whatever and it's £4,000, but it should be mint underneath. It shouldn't have a spot of rust on it. And the bills are just getting enormous, absolutely enormous.
Labour rate. So I went to see some lads who run a chain of workshops the other day, and their labour rate's 100 quid. Independent, £100 plus that. So that's 120. What's main dealer now? Nearly 200 quid an hour. I had a decorator around the other day, did 2.5 days with materials. And when he went to invoice me, I was thinking, Jesus Christ. Thinking of me like he's going to be like 60, 70 quid an hour. I got a bill for like, 2.5 days. The bill was like 400 quid, 420 quid for a decorator. And I remember looking and thinking, he's done 2.5 days. Like if that had been a car at a workshop, I'd be giving him $2,000. Do you know what I mean? For 2.5 days work. And
I mean, in fairness, I'm sure mechanics and garages are going to get in the comments and say, well, hang fire, guys, our costs have gone through the roof. We've got NI, we've got, our parts have gone through the roof. And, we've got to do this training and that training, the other now to get signed off on X, Y, Z to be able to do it. So I'm sure,
scanners, the software, the subscriptions you have to pay and everything like that. The
cost of your bloody insurance and all that sort of stuff.
My argument would now be, though, that, like, what's the gap between a retail car and a private car now? Like, if you're selling something at £5,000, what's the difference? What would that be?
700-800 quid.
700. I think that gap's going to have to get so much bigger. If we're going to be responsible for these cars for so much longer and have to put this level of prep in, that gap is going to have to get considerably bigger, isn't it?
I also think that the issue isn't necessarily, the issue is the law, but people weren't necessarily as well informed of it. So I almost feel now the issue is just because consumers are more aware that more people are pushing and trying it on. Whereas 3 or 4 years ago, the Consumer Rights Act was still there. But it just seems to me now that as soon as something's wrong, I just want my money back. And I just want to say to them, it's not your money, it's mine now. But it's fine. If you want me to buy your car back off you, fine. But when they use that term, I just want my money back, I want to kill them because I don't know why. I've become a hater, and I shouldn't. I should love the customers because ultimately we don't have a business. Anyone watching this who's a retail customer, we ain't got businesses without you guys, so we should love them. But I just feel at the minute like I've lost the love for the punters. I've lost the love.
How many customers say to you every month, I just want my money back?
Money back. Well, as soon as someone has an issue, it just seems to be that that's it. We all joke about kids in car, but again, unfortunately, when they say that term, I have to take a breath.
Trigger, innit?
Take a breath. Yeah, it's a trigger. It's a trigger statement, innit? It's like, no, just it's fine. Because I always then say, look, it's fine that your kids are in the car. anybody driving a car who's broken down, has been inconvenienced, will feel the same way as you. To almost tell them, it's irrelevant that your kids are in the car. You've had a problem with your car, and it's the same problem for everybody who has a problem with the car. Just because you got a couple of little nippers in the back does not mean that your case is more important. You know what I mean? And I know it sounds really kind of callous thing to say, but you're right, it's a trigger.
But they do load it up. They do load it up, though, don't they? It's always the kids in the car, and I was on my way to a hospital appointment, and someone's got this disability, and it's just like boff, boff, boff. They load it up and load it up and load it up, don't they?
You almost feel like you wish you could have something that was on your warranty line. We're like, thanks for calling. We're sorry you're having a problem with your car. We are going to do everything we can to help you within, what's humanly possible. Yeah. Because the problem is, I think people are just emotional. Something goes wrong with a car. They're not expecting it to. They think they're buying something perfect and brand new. Yeah. But secondly, they're expecting a pushback. So they come on, oh, my car, and you're like, whoa, hold on. Yeah. If you'd come on and said, I've had a problem with my car. It's, so-and-so. Is there, am I still under warranty? Is there something you do to help it? Don't worry. You're so much more likely to be like, we've actually got a guy out transporting by you. Let's get you picked up. We'll get you in another car. We'll figure out what's going on. Whereas if they come on, they're like, I fucking knew there was something wrong with this car, and I knew it was blah, 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 and you're just like, oh.
You can sometimes make it too. I've said this as well. So we used to use a warranty company. We'd pay them, even a managed fund. You'd pay them a fee per car. We spend a lot of money doing it. If you think of the volume of cars. And then we moved one of our team into a full-time after-sales role. So we said to ourselves, do you know what? We're paying this warranty company thousands and thousands of pounds a month. We're just going to stop doing it. We'll manage our own. It's a lot easier for a third-party warranty company to say no to people. And I think that, again, if there is a process involved for that customer, that some of these niggling issues, once they realise they've got to take it themselves to a garage, they've got to book a claim, they've got to fill all these forms, they just disappear. Yeah. But when it's us, they'll live with you because they know it's you. So I'm starting to question whether we should outsource to a third party again.
I think you have. My trouble is I did that, and then I still fielded the calls.
Well,
so
you do.
So you've got to be tougher and say, look, if you do have a claim, I don't have a garage, so I've supplied this third party warranty. You need to call them. And you need to start to be a bit tough like that, because otherwise I end up paying them a warranty. I know the warranty company
fix the cars anyway.
Anyway, exactly.
We all do. I mean, that's the reason why you end up taking it internally in-house, again, because when we didn't sack off a warranty company, we had a good relationship with them. We said, we're going on our own. You're making a massive mistake. You do not understand how much work we do in the background for your business. And we said, oh, no. You don't understand how much work we do, despite the fact that you're doing our warranty, the amount of calls we take, the amount of money that we pay out. You have no idea. And then, we got rid and saved a lot of money. But again, are we causing ourselves problems? Would it be easy?
Do you charge the customers then?
We charge them for an extent. 3 months, nothing. So we give everyone a 3 months. And then if they want to buy a 12, we sell them. But I think we sell them too cheap. And again, I'm looking now at what we charge versus claims that are being made 8, 9, 10 months down the line, thinking I'd sacrifice that 395
what
quid
about
we charge.
admin fees? Do you charge an admin?
Only on third-party finance companies where they charge us one. So I would, if they any admin fees, well, what's yours? 300 quid, fine, add it on. But that's it. And then they've got the cheek to say, oh, can you knock the admin fee off? Well, can you?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
If you want to
can we have some commission?
Tell us. How much is the commission? We'll work something out.
I can live without the commission on those deals, but to swallow a £300 fee and in a where everything's being squeezed at the minute, no.
Do you know how much I'm paying those third party deals can be so straightforward and easy and such hand-me's, but they can be such a fucking nightmare as well later on down the line. We had someone else on the podcast. He's got Chic, and he's got Motor for You, and East Sussex. He's got 300 odd cars. Yeah. And he charges 650 quid admin fee for third party finance. And he's like, they'll pay it. It's getting added on. And I was like, I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to start at 500 quid, because at the end of the day, it's a bit like some customers. With some customers, you say something to them that's reasonable, and they're like, oh, I don't like that, and you could lose the sale over it. Now I'm like, good. So I feel like if you've got a third-party deal and you say, look, it's 650 quid admin fee, and they're like, oh, well, we won't pay that. It's like, all right, don't worry then. You don't want to lose out on deals, but at the same time, we are doing more for less with them. And then you're dealing with two customers. You're dealing with Zuto and the customer, and it's just, the shit rolls downhill, doesn't it? The customer moans to them. I've had it loads of times, and they moan to that finance company so much that they know they can't come to us because it's not covered under it, but it takes so long. the admin fees for them must be huge, so they just refund them and then they try and get the money back off you.
Well, they also sell warranties. So let's be right.
Oh,
They
I've
also
had this
sell
before.
warranties.
Yeah.
They sell them at 12. Something goes wrong with the first 6 months. They send them straight back to us anyway. So it's like we're underwriting their warranty sale.
I don't get that. The warranties they sell is zoot. Like, I
Well,
don't
they're
know.
selling a third-party warranty. Maybe it's their own, or maybe they've just done a deal with a warranty provider. But yeah, they're selling these customers a 12.
And then they always
they're
come
not
back to
liable.
us.
And then for the first 6, they're not, are they? I mean,
On the last 6.
Well, I know. Again,
Just
there's an argument.
Money for
in
old
that.
rope, isn't it?
But
What about an admin fee though, just for selling? Do you not fancy doing one?
no, I mean, I don't, because if you do it, you have to notify AutoTrader. Whether you do or not, I don't know, but they say you have to. So because then they
They put a thing like no admin fee on your page or whatever.
Yes.
I'm sure
Yeah.
I don't know if they put your car in the order, so like they virtually add it onto
yeah,
the
they add
price,
it
so
on,
your
don't
car,
they? Yeah.
or do they add do they show what it is and it makes your car look dearer then, because it is dearer. It's the whole thing. It's like on eBay, people used to sell something really cheap and charge 15 quid for delivery. So you'd end up at the top of the list, wouldn't you? Oh, the fucking hell, this is half price. Well, it's not. Fucking, it's a quid more expensive, but because they've loaded half of it into the delivery charge. So, so no, I don't. And we'll see what happens as we move on into the future. Do we have to do it? Do we need to do it? You know, or as I say, the margins realigned.
At the minute, I feel like we have to do it.
Yeah, I'm getting more and more. I've always had a deep
Do you
no,
charge
I don't
one
want to do it.
regardless? So this is what I'm saying.
No, I don't at all.
So do you charge it for third-party finance?
I haven't up until now, but now I'm like, I'm going to start saying like 500 quid for a thingy, because even on the cheapest cars or whatever, with your own finance, you're probably going to earn a few hundred quid commission. But in this case, what pisses me off is we'll do what you do. Finance company will phone up, say, do you charge any admin fee? Like, we don't. If you don't, and they're like, oh, well, we charge 150 quid normally, but we can probably waive it. And you're like, all right, okay, cool, 300 quid, whatever it is. And you're like, great, yeah, no worries. And then the deal goes through. When they pay out, it's minus the 150 quid, the 300 quid. And you got then it's your time wasted. You check, why have you charged this? Oh, I don't know what's happened with that. You go around it for weeks to try and get 150 quid, and it's just only out of principle at that point because it's not worth it.
Yeah.
But the amount of time that you invest to get that 150 quid is not.
It's not worth it. Yeah, so we just don't bother. It's just like, fuck's sake, right, next time. But yeah, I'm going to start.
We've had one recently, and I forget the name of them. He's buying a 4 Series, 420D, and he went through a third party, and we said, don't use ours because we'll probably get you a better rate anyway. Went through a third party, and they wanted to see the car who's buying off us was a part exchange that came against the car that we'd sold. They wanted to see the invoice for that, so we sent them the invoice without the customer details on. No, we need to see it's got the customer details on, so immediately we got a GDPR problem. Then they wanted to see my bank account to show that I'd made the purchase for the car or transferred the difference. So I blanked everything else out. They went, no, we need to see all the transactions. And you kind of think, hang on a minute, at what point is this just a transaction, or is this a little bit more than that?
Intrusive.
So yeah, it really is intrusive. So that deal ended up
probing
not
right
going ahead.
into your business for the, like you say, you need to send me your bank statement proving you've paid for this car. How's about fuck you, man? No, because I've actually not paid for it.
Exactly.
It's on SOR. I don't even own it.
Yeah, exactly. They're on to us. But the worst thing was, the deal fell apart. They told the customer, I'm sorry, the dealership just isn't complying.
Oh yeah, they always
us.
blame you, don't they?
Yeah.
On our banned list.
Good.
I'm not renewing my FCA. I'm not doing finance. Cannot be arsed with it. No.
Chatting to a
cannot be arsed
broker
with it.
last night about finance, and he was saying to me that there's certain lenders that they have that are just doing a flat, really low rate and paying a very, 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 very modest commission to the dealer. And some of his dealer friends were saying, there is no way I am taking all the rights that this finance agreement will afford this consumer over and above normal for 100 quid a deal. There's no way. I'll just tell people, get a bank loan, get a personal loan. So I think you are, and you'll see lots and lots of people do it.
I've got this emails coming through. You've got to do this bit of training. You've got to do that bit of training. Oh, you've got this fee to pay. You've got your renewal fee. Oh, you've got this fee to pay. Oh, you've got to make sure the customer gets this bit of paper. Then I hear all these stories of like 24 months later, an Ingenium engine goes and someone says, oh, the finance company have sent an engineer out. It was definitely at fault at point of sale. And you're like, why? And the commissions are now only this much. And you're like, you've got a vulnerable customer. Oh, you're just going for a divorce. I've got a note, you're a vulnerable customer. It's like, nah, sorry, just can't be arsed with it. No, go, like you say, go and get a bank loan.
Jamie, do you need your finance commissions for your business?
We've not run a business that relies on finance commissions, But if I look at how much profit we've made this year, if we'd have earned no finance commission over those 7 months, then the result for the first 6 months of the year would be even more terrible than it already is. And I say terrible, we're making something. But again, take that finance commission out, that would probably have halved the profit that we've made in this first 6 months. When we're flying, you can just live without it, you know. And again, everything restores to normality. So if nobody had finance commission, everybody would have to make that extra bit.
It's all built in, isn't it, to the margin?
It's funny, isn't it? The consumers like, yeah, dealers, you know, they've been stiffing us on finance all the time. I'm glad to see what's coming in. And what are all the dealers saying? I'm going to bin it off. I'm going to get rid of this finance company, get rid of that finance company. So what are you going to do? You're going to end up paying higher rates. You're going to pay at higher rates, higher fees.
All these things where it's like the finance commissions have been disclosed and they're trying to claw money back all the time and whatever. It's not helping anyone. It really isn't. No. It's certainly not helping the end consumer because A, it's just going to put people out of business. It's going to put prices up. We're going to have to start finding ways to make other money because people seem to think as a car dealer, you're just having it away. I had someone in the comments on a YouTube video saying, oh, you know, you seem all right as a car dealer, but I don't think you still seem like a chancer because you bought, I was looking at a part exchange car and I was like, oh, we bought this for 600 quid. It'd probably be 1,600 quid or 1,800 quid on someone's forecourt if you want to do that. Oh, you're trying to triple your money, you chart. It's like, I know. You sell it for that. You sell it for that and see how much fun you have.
You're also the person in the comment that says the customer's had that car for 6 months, has got a bad clutch. You should put one in for them. On that profit. It doesn't matter how many times you put out a video that goes, I started off with 2k margin, 2.5k margin, and I've just made £400 out of this car, and I've still got up to 6 months before someone can come back. And then you show another car that's got another 2k margin, they're straight back in the comments going, that's outrageous, you should have given more for that car.
We did one recently about getting absolutely shafted on an X5. Did everything we possibly could, genuinely trying to help the customer, and he basically played the rules, the Consumer Rights Act and the fine, to put a bit on finance, completely screwed us. Yeah, and then in the comments below, someone had put, oh good, you're a dodgy car dealer anyway. I'm glad it's come the other way. And I thought...
For once. It's always for once, isn't it? It's always the other way for once.
It cost me 10 grand, that.
It's that for once comment you always get in there as well, isn't it? I'm glad dealers say it. It's like, who's getting shafted? The stories you hear about someone getting shafted is someone's had a car for 8 months and the exhaust has rotted out, or the cat's needed replacing, or our lower arms need replacing. Dodgy dealer. He must have known in advance that was going to happen.
The thing with, like Jamie was saying earlier, customers being more informed about their rights and whatever, and it's great. That's perfect. We all play by the rules, so you're happy to play by the rules. But the problem is they're using it as like hacks. This is a way you can get a car and have it. And if like the twat who had the Teslas.
Yes.
And he's like, oh, I'll have them for 12 months and I can send them back scot-free. It's depreciated 40 grand and whatever. It's like, you bastard. That's what you're saying us car dealers are like.
Oh, that's the irony.
We're fair game though. We're fair game.
Exactly.
Why?
We are.
Why?
We're fair game.
But they're on the phone to me every week going, you can't go to a dealer and buy a car at 4 or 3 grand anymore. I'm struggling to find a good car at that price point. Why? If I could MOT that car, service that car, and say to you, look, if the engine and gearbox go in the first 3 months, fair enough. But if you, like we were saying earlier, your electric windows or your stereo, whatever plays, you're on your own with that. You could start punting cars out of that price point. But with the way it is at the moment, then come back to you for anything. You can't send a car out on 500 quid profit, can you?
I mean, all you can do is prep as best as we prep and hope for the best, isn't it? And I've kind of got to a little bit of a point now where when someone's been awkward, I'm just awkward back. I just play the game back. And if they want to go, if I don't think it's fair, they want to take it further, I'm happy to go for the journey.
Interestingly,
now.
I've had comments in my videos recently, people saying, James, the reason you're getting these warranty claims is you're showing on camera when someone comes back, you're going to do all this stuff all the time. And people are coming and buying cars from you because they think they've got like a lifetime warranty on it. And then some of these claims started to come through and I started to look at some of them. I started to go, no, do you know what? I am going to dig my heels a little bit with that. There is no way that's fair.
So at the end of the day, you think about it and you've set the rules out. Everyone's played by it, and then 9 months down the line, they're whinging and moaning because of X, Y, Z, and they want to try and make it your problem. And if you do give in, you're literally taking money out of your back pocket and just handing it to people for no good reason whatsoever.
But I don't think we do play by the rules. I think that's the problem. I think all of us around this table are doing repairs on cars that under the Consumer Rights Act, it would be fair to say they weren't a fault at point of sale. But we're still doing them. So if you want to, like you say,
in 6 months, it just has to be assumed that the fault was there. You see, one thing I don't envy with you guys, you've all got quite online presences. You have all through YouTube and your other bits and pieces. Historically, in a previous business, I did, and I didn't go down that road with this business because I took some flack online. So I'm sure you're all very thick-skinned because I get negative comment online. I just want to kill them. I do, and I imagine more so for you guys because you're quite transparent about what you bought something for, what you're going to sell it for, that then people will think, if I buy off him, well, he's going to have to fix my car because I'm a follower and actually I'll be able to slate them and stuff like that. And I, so in some respects, I'm sure the positives far outweigh the negatives of doing what you do. But that would just like not terrify me. But that online channel of where people then feel, and do you get that? Do you find that someone has followed you and they've bought off you and then they're like, well, I should be getting special treatment, or I should get a bit more? Or have you felt obligated to fix something that you wouldn't have fixed because they're there and they've kind of got that over you a little bit? I don't know. I mean,
I'm fairly fresh on this, lad, so I'm sort of 4 months into it, 4 or 5 months. So
Sorry, go on. You're going to say.
Thank you. I'll carry on. I know you've been doing it a long time. So I'm fairly early doors, but what I have found is I've got people that are coming in to look at cars that I wouldn't have had come in before, who are clearly just coming for a chat and to test drive a car and to get it dirty so you go through the process. So that's the only negative I've found, but I've actually found, contrary to what you're saying, the positive comments really boost me.
Fair enough.
And I really enjoy that, and I think there's a good community. Dave and I were talking about earlier, there's a good feel
People are
about
more
it.
on our side. I think what you find is the main comment what everyone puts is, bloody hell, I didn't realise it was this hard being a car dealer.
I'd agree with that. They'll go, and a lot of them, when you put a warranty claim, they go, well, no. They'll go and go, no, there's no way that was at a point of sale. Or no, what are these people thinking? They bought a car of that age and that mileage. That's just general maintenance. That's what they should be doing themselves. But you do have to wonder how many of those people would feel the same way if it was their car. If it was their car. But no, I'd agree. I think it's very easy when it's online. I say this all the time. You get all your comments, and you might have 200 comments, and you almost scroll to find the negative one, and you want to go and respond to that, and you ignore the 10 people above that went, fair play, James.
We do this, though, don't we?
We do.
It's just human nature, isn't it? Yeah, you let the 1 out of 100 actually affect your day, whereas the 99 who've said, you've been brilliant, you just don't look at them, do you? You just focus on the shit.
Yeah, I put a video out the other day, and it was just like, this customer bought a Hyundai i10 off me. It was 10 years old, and it had like 80,000 miles on it. I sold it on a Saturday, and I decided to ride my bike home. So literally, as they left, I hopped on my bike and rode off, so my phone was in my pocket. And when I got back and checked my messages, James, the clutch has gone on this car, like 100 yards down the road. It turned out there was a manufacturing fault with the slave cylinders. They were snapping because we'd done one before on it. I've driven it around, test driven it, everything, it's fine, sold it. And I was thinking, oh, bloody hell, standard consumer rights, get my money back, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I get on the phone to him. I say, oh, I can't believe this happened. Drop the keys through the red box outside. I'll refund your money. No, these things happen. Yeah. If you can get a clutch done on it, we still want the car. And she's like, I said, well, she said, do you need a car? I said, well, I don't really. I said, well, I've got a loan car you can have if you want it. And then I did it all, and they were just smiles all the way through it. And they were, oh, it's an older car. This kind of thing happens. And I rang them up midway through the week with parts in, we're just getting it fitted. Yeah, great. Just let me know when it's in. They came, pick it up. No fuss. No, like, oh, okay. Well, can you refund me for X, Y, Z?
Carlsberg customers, they are, man. We can get a busload of them from North Devon, just aim them towards Derby, man.
I'll have the overspill.
They're the people, aren't they, you want?
They are, and isn't it nice to have someone that isn't assuming you had the X-ray vision to see that part was going to fail? Like someone else said to me, said, this has gone on my car after 2.5 months. It's not good. It's gone that early on, and I felt like saying, no, it was supposed to be 1 day and 4 hours.
Yeah. You're right. It is early.
Also, it's happened this early. 2.5 months into the ownership of this car that is now 13 years and 2 months old. That early? It's not that early, is it? Really, it's in the last 1% of its life so far.
And in the period where I'm going to be repairing it at my cost. That's a bad time for it to happen.
Well, this is what I was saying. I'm not happy, I've had a problem. Take solace in the fact that you've had a problem now, because I'm paying for it. Because this is going to break at some point. Better that it's on me than it's on you in a year. You have to reframe it in their mind, don't you? Instead of thinking, actually, but a lot of them are still, no, not happy.
Your warranty books, I'd love to put something like, if your car breaks, you can put this, but please don't be a cunt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But we got a form, the don't be a dickhead form that we get customers to go through, which says we reserve the right to fit used parts to your car because it's a used car. Don't go to a main dealer. If you go to a main dealer, we're not going to be paying your bill. And it's the don't be a dickhead list, and we get them to sign it.
I love that.
And people go, do you not get them to go through this paper? It doesn't matter what they sign, does it? It doesn't matter what they sign, what they read.
It's nice when they're really horrible a few months later and say, look, I'm just looking at this piece of paper, and I am assuming that is your signature at the bottom and the date that you filled in. And clearly you had a look at it. We did run through, didn't we?
After you just signed off $9 grand's worth of work at the main dealership.
So, it's helped on a couple of occasions when, you just email him. Do you remember
But it's
signing that?
like your point earlier, isn't it? It's like when that fault happens with the car, there is this knee-jerk reaction of, I want my money back. It's like, why would you want your money back on a used car when a dealer's going to fix it for you and you're going to go off on your way? So you want to go and buy another one, and then maybe what that fault goes wrong at 7 months when he's not under honorary obligation to do anything.
Or though, because we do a lot of these third-party finance companies, which, let's be honest, I'm not going to say there's irresponsible lending, but lots of people with, I would say, less disposable income buying higher mileage, older German cars for the image, and every penny they earn is going into that car. If they have a fault after 2 or 3 months and that first or second payments come out, that novelty of, check me out, I've got a BMW, or check me out, I've got my Merc, the novelty's worn off because of 450 payments come out for the payment, the 200 quid insurance has come out, the fuel, suddenly, like almost a third of the disposable income. And if they have a little fault, it's like, right, I can get out. I can get out here because actually,
you know what? I sold a car to a chap the other day, and I did. I mean, he's quite famous in my channel for it. I sold him an old mocker, and I did feel bad for the dealership that sold him a car because he bought a brand new BMW on finance, and then a fault happened with the BMW after a few weeks, and he used that as the opportunity to hand it back because he couldn't afford the payment. The payments were too high. He worked out, he goes, actually, do I really want to be spending exactly that? Do I really want to be spending £600 a month to have this brand new BMW in the driveway? So he used it as a reason to give the car back.
Think of the dealer.
And then bought a £5,000 car.
So you think of the dealer, so it's brand new BMW, which was probably, let's say it's 40 grand, because new cars are not cheap, are they? I mean, 40 grand probably don't buy a lot of brand new BMW anyway. And you think what that car reality is worth after 2 months with an owner and the mileage, that dealer's going to blow 10 grand on that car.
And he's not allowed to
10 Gs.
deduct anything, is he?
If it's within the first 30 days, I don't think you can. But main dealer would be shit scared of pissing people off anyway, I would assume. And then they would probably just roll over and take it back. But terrifying.
Oh, the losses are running into thousands there, aren't they? Thousands. It's not a victimless crime, as you like to say, is it?
Well, yeah, because it's the car dealer, so of course it's big.
I SOR'd a turbo for someone. I SOR'd it, and we were like, I had a bit of a nibble about the margin that I ended up having out of it. And I said to this guy, I said, listen, with respect, I have that now as a liability. If that computer on wheels glitches at any point in the next 3 months, and the way the EV market was collapsing at the time, I'm going to have to go and buy that car back off that guy for 95 grand. So with respect, I ain't working for 3 grand, and we had and it was a case of, and I know it was only another couple of grand or whatever, but it was a case of saying, look, it's like a ticking time bomb. Yeah. And you have to now, and that sometimes is a fear of
Still did it though, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's the car
because
trade for you, isn't it?
I can't turn a deal down off it because I'm a
that.
junkie, like just hit selling a car and making a profit. And
Jamie, do you think you could scale down your business?
I think perhaps. I don't know. I mean, I really feel we are in a period of flux at the minute with the industry. I do, and I genuinely think that, I don't know. I think things will change over the coming months. I do. Could I see a future for myself where I had a smaller business? Perhaps. Ultimately, I want to make money. And I want to have a profitable business. And at that point, and not just a business is making a small amount of profit, but is making a profit that I think is reflective of the effort and the investment that's in the first instance. And if those two things match, effort and reward, I'm cool. And if I have to have 1,000 cars, but that works, great. If that meant at some point in the future going down a size, I wouldn't not necessarily look at it. But, ultimately, we've still got a plan for this year. Our workshop was an issue. We've spent a lot of time, effort, energy, and recruited a lot of people to make the workshop better. I still don't have a forecourt full of prepared cars. I really want to get to that point where my pitch is ready and see what effect that has on the profitability of the business. And at that point, then decide, I suppose, where we're going to look to go in the short to mid-term in the future. And if having a fully prepared forecourt makes absolutely no difference, then I don't know.
That's the one everyone's chasing, isn't it? What you mean, as in fully present, everything's like MOT, service.
Maybe everything apart from but been MOT checked by one of our mechanics, and all the work's been done, so that on the day you get the call, I'm going to be there in 3 hours, can I drive it away today? Yes, you can. Right. And you send it to the MOT. I'm not saying make every car perfect. There'd be a scuffed wheel. There may be the odd little imperfection, but certainly mechanically ready so that car could go. There's nothing to stop it. And then if they come, there's a couple of marks on the wheels, I'll chip 100 quid, you can get them refurb locally, see in a bit.
Yeah.
Unless they're battered. If they're battered, do them. If it's a 20 grand car, do them. But on a 6-7 grand car, I'm okay with nibbles. I'm okay with a little ding here and there. But getting them to a point where 90% of the people looking at it would be happy to buy it. I think that's the thing. There's lads in this trade, and I admire them, who make every car perfect. So there's no reason why a customer then would say no. But I feel I'd rather prep for the 90% rather than for the 10%.
And how many of the people that do that are already scale?
Well, I suppose you're right. Yeah, they're not. They're smaller, but they work on the no discount. That's ready. It's perfect. If you don't want it, see you later.
I guess that it being ready on the day is almost like another negotiating point, isn't it? It's like a plus point. It's a selling point, isn't it?
Yeah, you can go now.
You can have it today. You can you can scratch that itch that you want, while you're still in that like. Ooh.
Yeah. We've had a deal cocked this morning because the guy wanted it at the weekend. We've delayed him till next Friday, and I've just seen the messages come through. Cocked. Found one locally. Less money. If that car had been ready Friday, he wouldn't have even. It's gone. It's gone. And I've had that car in stock forever as well.
We've been discussing recently in our place as well, and on the podcast and whatever, is say the way we do it now. Someone will come and say, "Oh, it'd be nice. Could you do the wheels in the deal?" We're like, "Yeah, fine, okay, blah, blah, whatever it is. We'll get the M&T service sorted," and then come back a week later to pick up that car with the dealer grin. They're like, "As the timing, did it have that service or whatever? Did the brake? Did the whatever?" Because all this stuff they've been researching in that week in between.
Yeah.
Whereas if they just come at it on the day,
Yeah.
they'd be gone. Do you know what I mean? So
Well, you deliver a car to Devon. You've delivered it miles. You've charged a customer loads, and it gets there, and then before they've paid, you've took a deposit. Well, I just want to have someone just cast their eye over it before pay for it. And you're like, well, the driver's not really, employed to go and stand but goes to a workshop, and then customer's on the phone. Well, have you done the cam belt? It's the guy at the workshop saying to me that you should have done the cam belt. What could I say at that point? No. Okay. Well, I don't want it. So I have to then swallow a £400-500 delivery.
That's
and
why I
really
won't do distance sales.
No.
I
So
hate
then I have to then chip.
I'd make the customer
Well,
pay
knock
for that.
£300 off.
You can't though, can you? They can reject
Well, I don't want
it
it.
at that end, yeah.
I don't want it. So what do? You either swallow the bill, or you think, well, I'll just.
Well, you need to charge them like a £300 viewing fee or something, so that. So even if they cock on the deal, there's still a charge for them. You still got you still had the opportunity to view it. That was the cost it was.
The trouble with the distance selling law is it is designed for a pair of socks off of Amazon. It's not designed for you spending £400 to take a car from one end of the country to another. And again, it's totally been misapplied to vehicles. You can't ask a dealer to make that level of commitment and just have someone go, yeah, I actually don't like that shade of blue, and then just spin it round and go back the other way.
Or worse, you don't tell them and then they do it in 12 months.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing. Yeah, you missed one, didn't put one little dot on that form, and now they can take it around 12 months.
How many cars are you selling on average, Jamie, in a month?
With trade, about 150.
150, Christ. I would love to see, and this is my really humble opinion, but do you know what I think I noticed when we talked to you is that you run like a 300 car site as if it was like my 30 car site. Everything's quite like, I don't want to charge admin fees. I don't want to do all these things that the big things do.
Yeah.
You're quite personable with people and you want to help out and whatever. And I feel like, I don't know, just from the outside, if you were to start charging £200 an admin fee on every car, people wouldn't bat an eyelid. And you don't have to like sort of nick every deal and do deals and whatever and pump your warranty prices up. Because there are other people that we have spoke to that charge these admin fees, and we're like, do people not get bothered that you charge them £200-300 for an admin? And they're like, don't bat an eyelid. And I was trying to find on my phone a minute ago, I saw someone else's advert, and they'd put a thing on it, and it was like £150 customer care package, and it includes your PDI, your
I think that's
new number
Scott
plates.
up at Sibley up at Redgate Lodge. I think he charges like a 195, but this includes a HPI check.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, if you can package it, you get your 3-month warranty, all the stuff you're going to give them anyway, but you get your 3-month warranty, you get a pre-collection valet, or make sure it's got a quarter of a tank of fuel, or whatever it is, the fuel light's not on, and all these sorts of things. But it doesn't sound like much, but...
I would pay for that as a customer.
What is it? I mean, my maths is going to be terrible now, but 100 in trade, and you're charging £200 a time. What are you talking? 20 grand a month?
15 odd grand in it.
And the thing is, you'll have the people in the comments saying, I'd never buy a car with an admin fee on it. But then they won't.
You're not going to lose a car over £200 though, are you?
But I also think that at the end of the day, if you're going to go onto a platform that's saying this is a fair price, average price, whatever, and you're throwing £200 worth of extras and that site's not allowing for, what option have you got? You need to get the very keenest price, and you're going to have to add the other stuff back on top again, aren't you, with that admin fee? If it's going to really be your car is now showing us fair price, when you want it to be a good price, you're going to knock £200 off. Well, then why not bundle together a package like that?
We talk about, if you look at the dealer groups, they sell the add-ons, because we don't sell paint protection, we don't sell gap insurance, we do warranties. Our warranty pen's poor as it is. But when you look at the big dealer groups, they all push and sell these things. Well, they have to. And obviously, people pay it because, as I say, that's why they get 40, 50% pen. So, like you were saying there, and a lot of them will charge admin fees. You know, you may as well do it as well, Jamie. If they do it, good for them, and it may as well be good for you. But
also, I mean, you don't have to push the warranties, or do you want a dash cam fitted, or whatever it is, but at least offering it. But I think, yeah, I really think, and still, even it's easy for me to say because I haven't started even just £100, no, £99 admin fee, and I know that I should. And I know most people wouldn't bat an eye at it, and it doesn't sound like it adds up to much. I mean, for me, it's going to be, well, £3,000 a month, but that makes, makes a decent difference.
it's a wage, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It pays for one
I'm
of
the same as Jamie. Like inside, something's stopping me from doing it. I can see in your face there.
Yeah.
You don't
But
want to do
let's-
it,
No,
do you?
but you know,
But what if we all sat here and we said the whole market is changing? It's a whole different thing. We can't make money the way we used to. It's much harder. Everything is changing.
Change or get
Adapt
left
to
behind.
survive, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have to do something different.
If you're just doing the same, then you just go backwards, won't you? That's the thing. You stand still, don't you? And if you're standing still, then in essence,
But when you're doing this customer care package, it's not as if you're making loads of money out of it. You're just covering them costs. What you just do for customers for free anyhow. Like I always put the £20 petrol in. We always do the MOT, the service, give them a flipping welcome pack. It just softens the blow, doesn't it? It'll just help your bottom
I
line.
mean, so James got them, and they're only like 12 quid each. I've ordered 50 of them now. These have you got some as well? Oh, you dropped one to you. The Must-Say pack thing.
I haven't bought any yet because I'm not
If
selling
I
any
was
cars, but I will.
say my admin fee was going to be 100 quid or 99 quid, and the box cost me 12 quid. It's 10 quid for some fuel. But it nets me 50 quid a time. Anyway, you can add a few quid on something you're doing at volume. Yeah, of course. It's got to be worth. And I think people would actually be quite happy, especially if say you get this box thrown in.
Yeah.
And the other thing, I know Scott was saying as well. He would say your admin fee covers you for if you need a courtesy car in the future, because we're under no obligation to give you a courtesy car.
but we will.
But we will. We'll provide you one, and it'll be nice and clean and whatever. And it's like
He's
all
not
these
daft,
added
Scott, is
things.
He knows how to run a business. Yeah, he's not daft. But I think we used to do it with sort of pre-COVID. We were full tank of fuel, bottle of fizz, full lot. I used to feel like, but used to feel like, that's a really nice thing to have. And it all stemmed back to when my dad bought a Jag 20 or 30 years ago and the fuel light came on. And this story resonated in your head when you were growing up. Always make sure there's some fuel in it. So we used to do that and we never got a thank you. Didn't get any reviews, I thought, off the back of that. So now it's literally the square root of...
150 quid you're just giving away for nothing there. Nice touch, you're right. It's a nice touch, but...
But no one noticed
No.
it. And I just thought, how are you not seeing
But
this?
this is what I'm saying. If you're going to squeeze the margins right down so that everybody's got to just get a car at exactly the same price, you just can't do nice stuff like that. You can't do it because it's actually substantial. It's a meaningful amount of cash that you're throwing into the car
Of course
there.
it is. So we get a little pipette now and we just...
Yeah.
Just until the light comes on. Off you go.
Get a little shot of Carver rather than a glass bottle of
The
champagne.
same bottle you've had in for 2 months.
So if you had a magic wand to change it, then what changes would you make then?
To
the trade to balance it out a little bit more? Because we all think it's gone a little bit too much in favour of the consumer.
I just think that if the margins reflect the additional work and effort and rights and obligations, then I would be happy to accept it. The problem is as I say, it feels like we're in an industry where margins are now shrinking and the rights and obligations and commitments and expectations of consumers are getting higher and higher. So I don't know. I really don't know the solution, and that's the thing. And I feel at the minute devoid of ideas in some respects to make things right. Like, what can I do in my business to start making bigger margins or make more money? And I don't know, and I'm trying. And it just feels at the minute, despite the as I say, the reward versus the effort that's going in is not matched. If I was tossing it off and just having a nice time then I accept that. But we're not. We're grafting, man. We are there like before 8 o'clock in the morning. We're there till after 6 o'clock at night. We're drilling the leads. We're hitting the leads. Someone's coming in. We're trying to red carpet them. We're trying to love them up. Problems happen. We're trying to get a loan car out to someone. We're trying. And as I say, I'm happy with the effort. I'll take the most stressed out existence in the world if there's a big bunce at the end of the month, because I know I've earned it and I've deserved it and I've gone through the pain, but the reward's there. When you're going through that psychological trauma that we go through every day, every minute sometimes in this industry, and there's not the pot of gold at the end, you're sometimes questioning, what am I doing? And that's why I found certainly the last 12 months tougher in this industry, probably than I've ever felt it. Even my darkest days as my old business was collapsing, it was difficult, different stresses, I
There
suppose.
still felt like there was some hope and opportunity.
Yeah, but like now, it just feels like we're going so a different way.
It's going to have to give at one end, isn't it?
I know.
Either part exchange prices are going to have to go right down so the margins are there, or the responsibility you have for the vehicle is going to have to shorten.
Yeah.
That's the only two ways I can see of it balancing out. Either a new law comes out that is more reasonable, because again, the other thing for that law is it's so outdated because it's looking at cars that's so incredibly simple and have very few moving parts. And we're moving to cars now where the simplest component on them is massively expensive. So either people are going to have to suddenly they think you're getting hit on a part X now, they're going to have to get a really hard hit in the nuts when they come to part exchange it in, or that we're going to have less responsibility for the vehicles. So that
£1,500 headlight you mentioned earlier. It's just going around my head now. It's a £1,500 headlight. $1,500.
But that'll soon be on a £3,000 Kia.
Yeah, I know.
That'll soon be on a £3,000 Kia.
Might be a £3,000 headlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite. We sold a Q7 recently, and there was an issue. It came up with exit warning systems. If you open the door card didn't flash red at you.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying about that. Yeah.
And he took it into a specialist, and the specialist went, "Oh, it's your steering wheel." How much is the steering wheel? £2,000 for the steering wheel. They said, well, it might not be the steering wheel though. It might be the light in the door card that's gone. So I got a price on the door card as well, £1,000 for the door card. So we've ended up sending it. Funnily enough, he's gone quiet. So we've not heard back from him since. But we sent it to an auto electrician. Yeah, blocked him. Just to have a look at the wiring in the door card. Now we've not heard back from him since. But if I went down the kind of scattergun approach on that, you're £3,000.
Parts cannon.
Yeah.
Parts cannon, that's the term I'm looking for, to find out with some wiring, because everything is so dear.
Yeah.
So yeah, like
And
you
that's
say,
the thing, in that scenario, I don't think consumers are going to start accepting cars with a non-working light-up door, because that's not what consumers are like. So that car either has to start having a much fatter margin on it, or there's got to be a law that says after this small window of period of time, you're on your own with something as minor as that.
The irony of, well, not the irony, but the most ridiculous thing is the thing that had gone wrong was with it flashed red at you to tell you that you're opening your door.
Yeah.
Like, is that how bad it is? That your door card needs to flash at you to tell you you're opening your door, and you kind of think this all just boils down to.
Or are we able to start advertising cars and saying that literally we don't list any functionality? None of the functions on this vehicle work other than
Engine gearbox.
engine and gearbox and the vehicle driving.
It will drive you and keep you dry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair.
Do you do with like radars on the VWs that are like £2,000?
Yeah, that's what's that.
Because I just say it to customers,
We had
I'm
one
like, you
where
don't
it
need that radar.
Went to VW, and they said to us, "You've got to buy the part." Okay, so we're all right. We'll buy the part, but the part took 10 months to come, or 11 months to come.
How much they charge you to
And
program
they
it?
wanted us to pay for the part up front, and we said, "We're not paying for this part until the part's there. We ain't doing it." And we'd hoped that the customer, by the time the part finally came, would have traded the car in, and then I just
Or
got
died or
yeah,
anything.
Or
Yeah.
got the email from VW, didn't I?
Oh,
It's
shit.
here, the part. I was like, well, to be honest, I don't think the customer's that. Oh, no. We've let the customer know it's right. I was like,
Oh, thanks.
like, do you know what I mean? Like, we'd not heard from the customer at that point. So 8 months or 7 months, 8 months, because I don't think just thought.
But the customer can still potentially reject that car at that point, saying it's an unreasonable wait period, can't they?
Oh, I think with the bit and the programming and stuff, it's come down. It was a couple of grand at one point because we were trying to buy used ones. But I think by the time it was done, we maybe spent £700-900 on that. But still, it's a ludicrous amount of money for a radar cruise control.
And the trouble is, I think the consumer thinks you made £3,000 out of that car, so £800's not
Nothing.
too bad, is it? But if you've made a K out of the car, you've probably done all right on it, haven't you? So yeah, it's
Just that mentality is beyond me. Think about your decorator that's £500 for a couple of days, and applying the same theory there is if you're not happy with some of the edging, £200 isn't unreasonable to ask back from him because he's made £500. It's his income. This is our income. And people just don't see it in the same
It's
way.
a product and not a
I've started
service.
doing it
Or...
on my cheapies. If it's got aircon, I will not list aircon on it, and I'll say it's got aircon on there, but I'm not warranting aircon.
Well, we should be able to have like the Americans have, sold as seen.
Yeah. America,
Beautiful.
Australia, over 10 years old, over 100,000 miles.
Yeah.
Sold as seen.
I will end this on, I'll tell you a little story, one that I had. I got in part exchange against another Range Rover. I had a Range Rover Sport, the old shape, not the old, but you know, the
2010 shape.
yes. And it was nice mileage though. It was like 60,000 miles, real nice thing. We probably had about £4,000 in it. So we're like, not really something I want to retail, but we did. Sold it. The guy had some minor issue. Might want a couple of sensors in it. It still cost me like £500-600. We did that, and then bloody, got the active anti-roll bar pipes on the back that are a nightmare, and you can't get them or whatever. So that cost to have both of them. So that was like another £800. So I'm like, 1,200-1,300 quid balls deep into this thing, and we'd given him a car. The guy watches the channel, and we'd done everything we could. And I didn't know who it was because I hadn't dealt with him. He turned up and I was like, "Oh, you all right? Can I help?" And he's like, "Yeah, I've come to pick up that money pit Range Rover." I'm like, "Oh, the one we've just done all the repair." He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, at least it's my money that's been spent on fixing it for you." He's like, "Well, yeah, for now." And I'm just like, that's what it's like, isn't it? That's what it's like.
Yeah.
You bend over backwards with people, and they're annoyed with you for it.
Yeah.
Do
you know what? You started off this thing saying about how's your year going, and I actually am feeling really good. Because and it's really weird. It's really weird. It's not because I've sold a shit ton of cars, but do you know what? I tried what you guys do. I started doing nice cars like 18s, 19s, stuff like that. Lower mileage change because there'll be less hassle. And I think I got more hassle from them, and they were slower to sell. And I've gone back to 3995 and 2995, and I like the people, and I like how quickly they sell, and I like the fact the cars have no moving part, like really few moving parts to go wrong on them, and you can leave the odd ding and scrape and scratch on it, and I've got back into that groove where I'm painting a little corner myself, and I actually feel quite, I think like I gave it a little go at being a big boy, and now I'm back down to where I was, and I feel really quite good. I know my yard improvement that looks really good out there, but actually I've been selling those types of cars to other people and taking in their cheapies, and I'm actually quite enjoying that.
Well, it's great if you do get realistic people. If you get more realistic people who are willing to accept that car they're buying is an older car, whereas if you've got a car that's the same age but it's worth 3 times as much, expectations are so much higher, aren't they? Like Jamie says, because it's aspirational, they want the look.
Managing expectations.
Well, that's it as well. And it's like, it's not that, here's your warranty. Here's the things I'll cover when your old car does go wrong. I've started saying that as well, because you're now going to go use it every single day. I've driven it for like an hour, done my best, but you're going to start using it every single day. And it is 12 years old with 100,000 miles on it. So something will go wrong with it. So don't judge me on if something goes wrong with it. Judge me on what I do when something goes wrong with it.
Yeah. Nice. Well, there you are. Let us know in the comments. Give us all the solutions to our problems. There's someone very smart out there who...
We're all giving up being capitalist.
Yeah, you all need to buy Hyundais, or you all need to... The best ones usually is you all need to buy cars that are 1 year old and they've still got a warranty on them. It's like, no one buys them though.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's at the mobility sales trying to get the cars that have come back with no miles on at a minute. But I think the thing with it is, I always point this out when someone goes in the comments and says, "Oh, why are you all doing that? And if you hate it so much, why are you doing it?" And and
we're psychopaths.
You must make money at doing it. It's like,
sadomasochist.
Yeah. It's more a case of just trying to educate people that when you're having a problem with your car, just realise that the guy didn't make £1 million out of it. He hasn't just marked your part exchange up by £3,000 and made £3,000 on it, or £2,000 and made £2,000 on it. And you are buying a used vehicle. Things will go wrong with it, and it's not necessarily reasonable all the time to ask for everything to be fixed. I just want people to have a bit more of a balanced viewpoint of it. Yes, we do make money out of it. Yes, we can make a living out of it, but it's not as easy as you think it is. It's not as profitable as you think it is, and we're not responsible for everything on your car. You bought something used.
So well.
Beautiful.
It was just poetry.
That was beautiful.
Thank you, guys.
Sometimes you do wish you'd sold like vacuum cleaners or something, though. Do you know what I mean? There is no hate, and there's no whatever on vacuum cleaners.
Yes.
There are used products. There are used products people buy, and they just wouldn't give a second thought of ever going back on somebody on it, would they?
Sandwiches.
Yeah.
Sandwiches. I didn't like that sandwich. Where is it? I've eaten it. Or you're an owner. You're an owner.
Yeah.
Or at the end of the day, Eon, have another one on the house. It's cost me £2 to make. No big deal.
Stained my top, so here's my next bill for a shirt. But I haven't got the old shirt to show you it happened. But here's the bill. Pay it, please. Yeah.
There you are. We'll wrap it up there because everyone probably needs to get on. Thank you so much for watching. I will put everyone's social links in the description. We won't run through them all, but you can find everyone there. And go out and buy all of our cars and make us all happy again.
And then bring them back.
Yeah.
Take them away. Pay us. Take them away.
Any idea how much it's going to cost Jamie to fuel up his helicopter now to get back and feed his peacocks? There we are. Right. Thanks everyone.